Hi, I'm Mason Wood, and my project is over how the National Park Service protects, teaches, and preserves American history. The National Park Service was established in 1916 by an act of Congress called the Organic Act. It was signed by President Woodrow Wilson, and it took him 6 years of discussion to figure out if they wanted to establish the Park Service or not. In 1872, though, the Yellowstone was the first park, but it was not a park yet. It was actually set aside from the rest of the country because they thought it was so special with all the plants, animals, and all the land. It was just so magnificent that they thought it needed to be set aside. Ulysses S. Grant said that it needed to be set aside, so he had the United States Army. They came in and they built their main fort in Mammoth Hot Springs in Yellowstone National Park, which is still the park headquarters today. And then in 1916, it became a park. It was America's first national park. It is actually home to more than 300 birds, 16 fish, 67 different mammals, including 7 hoofed ungulates and 2 bears. There's actually no hunting or fishing allowed in the park, which helps the population of the animals grow more. It has all kinds of stuff in it. It has geysers. Old Faithful is there. It has springs. It has fossilized wood. It has petrified wood. Everything that you could imagine is there. So they get over 1 million visitors every year. It is one of the most visited national parks in the country. There are you can go look at animals all the time. There's plenty of animals there all the time. They actually cross the road causing many traffic jams. It is federal property, which means that it is protected by park rangers, and they are the only law enforcement agency patrolling the 251 miles of road. Excuse me. There are 12 campgrounds and 9 rustic lodges. People can stay at these campgrounds and lodges. Park rangers also will teach the people. They have 3 different kinds of rangers. They have law enforcement rangers, which are like your the police in the park, and they have like teachers. They stay in the visitor center and they teach visitors. They'll come in and ask questions, and then they have rangers that'll go out and make sure that things are taken care of properly, like plants are growing, like the scientists basically. There are people can go to the park. They can hike, climb, ski, boat, fish, and explore natural resources. So, off topic, they have the National Park Service covers 419 areas in the United States, and there are more than 85 million areas in every state and in other American protectors, like Puerto Rico and the United States Virgin Islands. So the National Park Service is the main law enforcement of these parks. One way that the National Park Service teaches about the park is through the Junior Ranger program, which I participated in when I was younger. If you can see here is all the parks I went to. You do a booklet and you earn a badge. So these are all my badges that I have. I showed my hat for show and tell one day. Those are on there too. So that's one way. In other ways, they will put on the signs as you drive through the park. You can look at those signs and it'll teach you about them. So the National Park Service plans to continue preserving and protecting the parks. Actually, the United States Interior Secretary Ryan Zink signed a 20-year mineral ban on 30,000 acres of public land near Yellowstone. So it's not in Yellowstone, it's just around Yellowstone. So that way it'll protect public lands surrounding the national park, including surrounding communities, wildlife, and water. So the priority mission of the park is to ensure public access and then provide developed visitor services as appropriate. Fun fact for you, more than 80% of Americans live in urban areas, but few large cities have a major national park unit within 50 miles. So another priority is conservation. So 50% of the earth needs to be preserved to sustain native biological diversity. One study, it classified 3/4 of America's terrestrial ecoregions as endangered, critical, or vulnerable, or threatened. Why? Because they were not in a national park. They think that if they establish more parks, it would help out the ecosystem. There are over 1,500 American plant and wildlife species under the Endangered Species Act. Most are imperiled by habitat destruction and other human activities, which are prohibited in national parks. So that is another way why they're helping wildlife and plants grow and produce more. So industrial activities on national forests, BLM lands, and state private lands are increasingly endangering adjacent national parks. So what we need to do is we need to create more parks to protect these places. So, but the new parks will also provide many more ecological, cultural, recreational, and economic benefits. That's my speech. Thank you.